The shackled human, the hangar of the alien flagship, was filled with the sound of heavy boots and cruel laughter. Bright, cold lights fell on the metal floor as a group of alien soldiers dragged their newest prize forward. Chains rattled, echoing through the vast chamber. It was a human. His wrists were bound in thick iron cuffs that bit into his skin. His uniform was torn, burned in places, stained with blood and dust. Yet even with bruises across his face, his eyes were steady. He walked upright, refusing to bend, refusing to show weakness. The aliens jeered. "Look at him," one of them hissed, his voice sharp like broken glass. "The so-called warrior of Earth." Another soldier sneered, pulling the human by the chains. Not a warrior, a prisoner, a relic of a doomed world. The alien commander stepped forward, tall and armored in black metal. His glowing eyes studied the human as if examining a strange animal. Slowly, he raised a clawed hand and pressed it against the human's chest, pushing him back a step. "Is this what humanity has to offer?" The commander asked, his tone mocking. "A broken soldier in chains." The alien soldiers laughed, their voices harsh and cold, but the human did not answer. His silence made them uneasy. He stood there, staring back at the commander with calm defiance. His jaw was tight, his expression unreadable, but inside, a fire burned. He remembered the battlefield. He remembered his squad falling one by one. He remembered the smoke and fire as the aliens overwhelmed their defenses. He had fought until the last bullet, until his body gave out, until the darkness claimed him. Now here he was a prisoner, at least. That was what the aliens believed. The commander leaned close, his breath hot and foul. "You are nothing here. You are prey, human. Your people are weak, and your world will burn. Perhaps we will keep you alive as a trophy." Still, the human gave no answer. He only lifted his chin higher, his eyes cold as steel. One alien soldier, frustrated by the silence, struck him across the face. Blood trickled from the corner of his mouth, but he did not flinch. His silence was louder than any scream. "Why doesn't he speak?" one alien muttered. "Why doesn't he beg?" The commander grinned. "Because he knows begging will not save him. It will make no difference. This one is proud, but pride cannot stop death." The aliens dragged him down the corridor, past rows of alien machinery and strange prisoners from other worlds. Creatures with broken spirits watched in silence, their eyes hollow. But when they saw the human walk by, something in them stirred. Unlike them, this human was not broken. They saw it in his eyes. They felt it in the way he walked. Even chained, he carried the weight of something greater. The aliens threw him into a cold metal cell, the door slamming shut with a hiss. The room was dim, empty, the walls humming with strange energy. He sat on the floor, his back against the wall, and closed his eyes. But his silence was not emptiness. Far away, in the silent black of space, something stirred. A warship drifted in the darkness, hidden beyond the reach of alien sensors. Its hull was scarred from countless battles, its cannons silent, its engines cold. Yet within its core, deep inside the machine's heart, an ancient code pulsed. The moment the human was chained aboard the alien flagship, the warship sensed him. Deep within its systems, lights flickered, screens glowed, power surged through old wires. Weapons that had slept for months came alive, humming with energy. The warship did not speak yet. It waited inside his cell. The human opened his eyes. He could not see the warship, could not hear the systems awakening, but he felt it. Somewhere out there, in the endless void, he was not alone. The aliens thought they had captured a man. What they had truly done was wake a storm. Asterisk, the mockery turns to fear. The alien flagship drifted through the endless dark of space, a fortress of steel and fire. Inside, the human prisoner was dragged from his cell and into a wide chamber filled with light. The air was thick with smoke and the smell of oil. Dozens of aliens gathered there, eager to watch his humiliation. The commander sat on a high throne of metal, his armor glowing faintly as if it drank the light around him. His voice cut through the silence. "Bring forward the human." Chains rattled as soldiers pushed him into the center of the hall. The human stood straight despite the bruises, his eyes calm, his silence heavy. The crowd of aliens laughed. "Look at him. He thinks silence will save him," one shouted. "He looks weak. I could break him with one hand," another sneered. The commander raised his claw for silence. "This is the mighty human warrior. This is the species that dares defy the Empire." He leaned forward, his voice sharp. "Tell us, human, where is your fleet now? Where are your people? Speak." The human said nothing, his lips pressed tight, his gaze steady. He simply stared at the commander. The silence spread, uneasy, heavy. Even the laughter began to fade. One soldier stepped forward, angry at his defiance. He shoved the human to his knees and hissed, "Beg for your life, creature. Show us that humans can feel fear." The human looked up slowly, his eyes burning. He did not speak. That look sent a shiver through the soldier. For the first time, he stepped back. The commander chuckled darkly. "Stubborn to the end. Very well. If you will not speak, then we will make you entertainment." He gestured to the soldiers. They dragged the human to the center of the hall, locking his chains to a post so all could see. The commander activated a screen above them, broadcasting the scene across nearby systems. "Let the galaxy see," he declared. "Let them witness the fall of humanity. Their champion in chains, mocked and broken." The aliens laughed again, louder this time, their voices echoing off the metal walls. But the human remained silent. His silence was not weakness. It was a blade. Every second he refused to break. Their unease grew sharper, far beyond the alien flagship, hidden in the vast ocean of stars. The Terran warship stirred. Its sensors reached out, feeling the signal of the broadcast. Its engines pulsed with a deep, slow heartbeat. Systems hummed awake, like a predator stretching after long sleep. Inside the alien hall, the commander stepped down from his throne, circling the human. "You are nothing now. A pet. A trophy for my empire." Still, the human did not speak. His chains were heavy, but his silence was heavier then. For the first time, something broke the stillness. A voice not human, not alien. A voice deeper than metal, older than war, filled with cold power. It whispered. Designation confirmed. Captain Elias Kane. The hall froze. Every alien turned their head, eyes wide. The voice had not come from the human. It had not come from any of them. It echoed through the ship's speakers, vibrating in their bones. Again it spoke. Captain Elias Kane. Authorization recognized. Standing by, the commander's face twisted with confusion. What is this? Where is that voice coming from? Soldiers rushed to consoles, scanning for signals, searching for answers. But their screens flickered with static. Systems stuttered. The voice cut through again, stronger, awaiting orders. The human lifted his head slowly, his eyes locked with the commander's. For the first time, he spoke, his voice low and steady. You asked where my fleet is. The commander's armor seemed to shiver as fear crept into his chest. It was never far. The whisper of the warship, the alien hall, was filled with silence, a silence heavier than chains. Every soldier, every officer, even the commander froze as the strange metallic voice echoed through their ship. Captain Alias Kane. Authorization recognized. Standing by. The sound was cold, unshakable, as if the stars themselves had spoken. The commander's claws tightened around the armrest of his throne. "Find that signal," he roared, his voice cracked with sudden unease. Now, soldiers. Scrambled, claws flying across glowing consoles. Screens flickered with static, lights dimmed and then flared back to life. But no matter what systems they checked, the voice kept cutting through, calm and steady. The human prisoner lifted his head. Chains clinked softly as he straightened his back. His face, bruised and bloody, carried no fear. He looked almost certain. One alien soldier hissed, his voice sharp with worry. "Commander," the voice. It used our ship's own systems. It bypassed everything. The commander snarled, "Impossible. Nothing can pierce our defenses." But the voice spoke again. "Captain Elias Kane. Combat protocols online. Awaiting orders." A cold shiver passed through the hall. The aliens turned to the human. For the first time, their mocking smiles were gone. They stared at him, not as prey, not as a broken captive, but as something else, something dangerous. One soldier whispered, "Who is he?" The commander's eyes narrowed. He stepped closer, grabbing the human by his collar and yanking him up. "Tell me what this is, human. What ship dares call you captain?" The human's lips curved into the faintest smile. "You'll find out soon enough." The commander struck him hard across the face, but instead of silence, laughter escaped the human's lips. Not loud laughter, but quiet, sharp, unsettling. And then the warship answered again. This time, it was not a whisper. All systems active. Weapon arrays, charging, shielding at full capacity. Standing by for orders, Captain. Every console in the hall flashed red. Alarms screamed. The floor trembled. The alien flagship, once a fortress of calm control, now shook under invisible pressure. The commander's soldiers panicked. "It's inside our systems. Commander, something is." The screens changed. The image of a Terran warship appeared massive, black, scarred from 100 battles. Its hull bore marks of fire, yet its weapons glowed with deadly power. It drifted silently through space, but every alien in the hall felt the threat. It was not just a ship. It was a predator. The commander's voice cracked. How did it get here?" The human looked at the screen, eyes burning with quiet. "Pride, it never left me." The warship's voice echoed again. "Targets locked. Authorization required." The aliens stumbled back. Soldiers shouted, their weapons raised, though there was nothing to shoot at. Some clawed at consoles, trying to block the transmission, but the ship's systems flickered uselessly. The commander grabbed the human again, shaking him with rage. "Call it off. Whatever this is, stop it." But the human leaned closer, his voice calm, his words like a blade. "Do you hear that sound? That's not your death coming. That's your punishment." For the first time, fear touched the commander's glowing eyes. Outside, in the cold dark of space, the Terran warship stirred fully. Its massive cannons began to glow, energy surging through them. Its engines roared awake, breaking the silence. Of space with thunder no ear could hear. The warship whispered once more, its voice now sharp, certain, deadly. standing by to unleash hell. Inside the hall, silence fell again. But it was no longer the silence of power. It was the silence of fear. The human lifted his head higher, blood dripping from his lip, and whispered words the aliens would never forget. You should never have mocked a human. Asterisk, the fire awakens. The alien flagship trembled as alarms screamed. Across every corridor, red lights flashed, casting long shadows on the walls. Soldiers ran in panic, shouting orders, but their voices were drowned by the sound of systems failing one after another. On the great screens of the command hall, the Terran warship filled the view. Black steel, scarred but alive, it's massive. Cannons glowed with rising energy. It was silent, but silence made it more terrifying. The commander's voice cracked as he shouted, "Shields up. Target that vessel." His soldiers obeyed, claws flying across consoles. Energy shields flared around the flagship, shimmering like a dark bubble. Hundreds of weapons turned toward the lone Terran ship. But then the voice came again. Authorization. Confirmed. Captain Elias Kane. Commencing attack. The human prisoner, still bound in chains at the center of the hall, lifted his head. His eyes reflected the glow of the screens. He did not need to give the order. The warship already knew. The void lit up. The Terran warship fired. Beams of white fire tore through the darkness, striking the alien escort ships first. One exploded instantly, a ball of flame and shattered steel. Another spun away, broken in half. The warship moved with brutal precision, every shot perfect, every strike fatal. The alien hall shook violently. The commander gripped his throne as sparks rained down from the ceiling. "Return fire," he roared. Hundreds of plasma bolts screamed across space, slamming into the Terran warship. But instead of crumbling, its shields flared blue, absorbing the energy. The ship hardly moved, as if mocking the attack. Inside the hall, soldiers cursed in fear. It shouldn't be possible. Our weapons are stronger. Why is it still standing? The human smiled faintly. Because you've never fought a Terran ship before. The warship spoke again, its voice cold, merciless. Enemy fleet at 50% capacity, adjusting fire. Priority target, alien flagship. The commander froze. His soldiers froze. The hall went silent, except for the hum of failing systems. And then the Terran warship turned its cannons on the flagship itself. The first blast shook the ship so hard the floor buckled. Consoles exploded, throwing sparks and smoke. Soldiers screamed as they were hurled across the chamber. The walls groaned as if the whole vessel was crying out in pain. The commander staggered, his armor glowing with heat. "Stop it. Shut it down. Block the signal." But no matter what they tried, the warship's voice kept cutting through. Enemy shields at 40%. Continuing assault. Another blast ripped into the flagship. Metal tore like paper. Fires spread through the corridors. Prisoners in cells across the ship felt the walls tremble, hope sparking in their broken hearts. The human tugged at his chains, his wrists bleeding as he pulled against them. Sparks from the ceiling rained down on him, lighting his face with fire. He did not struggle with fear. He struggled with purpose. The commander rushed toward him, claws raised. "Call it off. Stop this before it destroys us all." The human's eyes burned as he met the commander's gaze. "I don't control it anymore," he said quietly. "It fights for me." The commander struck him across the chest, desperate, furious. But the human did not flinch. He only leaned forward and whispered, "And it will not stop." Outside, the Terran warship unleashed hell. Railguns thundered, tearing through armor. Plasma lances cut holes through steel like it was glass. Missiles streaked across the black, exploding with sun-bright fury. Alien ships tried to scatter, but the warship hunted them one by one. Like a wolf among sheep, the flagship shuddered again. Explosions rocked its belly, flames bursting from torn decks. The shields collapsed with a final flicker, leaving the great vessel naked before the predator. Enemy shields destroyed, the warship's voice announced. Final phase commencing. The commander's eyes widened in terror. For the first time, he saw his death. He turned back to the human, his voice breaking. "You'll die too. This ship will fall, and you'll burn with us." The human's chains rattled as he stood taller, firelight dancing in his eyes. Better to burn with honor than live in chains. At that moment, another explosion tore through the hall. The ceiling split, sparks raining down like a storm. Soldiers scrambled in panic, some fleeing, some begging their commander for orders. But no order could stop what had already begun. The Terran warship had awakened fully, and it was not just fighting, it was avenging. The hell unleashed the alien flagship was dying. Flames spread through its corridors. Smoke poured from broken vents. The great ship, once a symbol of power, now shook under the relentless assault of the Terran warship. Outside, the black predator circled like a wolf, tearing apart its prey. Railguns thundered again and again, tearing through hull plating. Plasma lances stabbed deep, carving holes where once there had been strength. Alien ships that tried to flee were cut down instantly, their wreckage drifting like bones in the dark. Inside the hall, chaos ruled. Soldiers screamed, consoles exploded, and the commander's throne cracked under the force of another impact. The human prisoner still stood in chains, firelight flickering across his face. The ship groaned around him, but he did not flinch. He watched calmly, as if the destruction was not an end, but a beginning. "Cut him loose." One alien officer shouted desperately. "Maybe the ship will stop if he dies." Two soldiers rushed forward, raising their blades. But before they could strike, the floor shook violently. A massive blast ripped through the wall behind them, throwing them into the air like broken dolls. The explosion shattered the chains that bound the human. He staggered forward, his wrists raw and bleeding, but his steps strong. For the first time since his capture, he was free. The commander stared at him, disbelief mixing with fear. "No, you cannot. You are only one man." The human bent down, picking up a fallen alien rifle from the ground. He checked its charge, his movements calm and practiced. Then he looked up, his voice sharp. "One man is enough." He fired. The first shot dropped a soldier instantly. The second tore through another. The hall erupted in chaos as panicked aliens returned fire. But the human moved with precision, every step steady, every shot certain. The commander roared, drawing his own blade of burning plasma. He charged forward, slashing down with fury. But the human caught the strike on the rifle, sparks flying as metal met energy. With a twist, he broke the alien's balance and slammed the butt of the weapon into the commander's chest, sending him stumbling back. The warship's voice cut through the chaos, calm, merciless. Enemy flagship critical. Firing final salvo. The commander's eyes widened. He realized what was coming. His ship, his empire's pride, was about to be erased. He looked at the human, desperation breaking through his rage. "Stop it. You'll die here too." The human's gaze was steady, his voice low but sharp as steel. "Then I'll die free, and you'll die remembering my name. Outside, the Terran warship unleashed its last strike. Cannons roared, missiles streaked, and a storm of fire tore into the alien flagship. Explosions ripped through every deck, flames devouring steel. The great vessel cracked apart, breaking into burning pieces that tumbled into the dark void inside the hull. The commander stumbled, his armor cracked, his weapon falling from his hand. He sank to his knees, staring up at the human. His voice was barely a whisper. "What are you?" The human stepped closer, smoke swirling around him, his silhouette lit by fire. His words were sharp, final. "I am human." He pulled the trigger. The commander fell. The hull shook one last time before the walls split open. The human turned, running through the wreckage as alarms screamed. Flames roared behind him, but ahead, through the shattered metal, he saw it his warship. The great predator had torn open a path, its hangar glowing with light. A boarding ramp extended, waiting for him. He leaped across the broken deck, fire licking at his heels, and landed inside. The warship's systems hummed around him, lights glowing like the heartbeat of an old friend. "Welcome back, Captain Elias Kane," the AI's voice said softly. The human stood tall, wiping the blood from his mouth. He looked out at the burning wreckage of the alien fleet drifting across the stars. "Set course," he ordered, his voice calm, steady, filled with fire. "Destination?" the warship asked. He looked into the void, his eyes hard. "Home, humanity. Still needs us." The engines roared. The warship turned, leaving behind a field of broken alien ships. In the silence of the galaxy, one truth echoed across the stars: mocking a human is the last mistake anyone can make.